What beauty really looks like after 70. The email arrived just after sunrise, while the Park Avenue apartment was still half asleep, and the city outside was still deciding what kind of day it wanted to be. Evelyn Parker sat at the marble kitchen island, glasses perched on her nose. A cup of green tea cooling beside her iPad. Harold was at the other end with his cereal, and the New York Times, pretending not to read over her shoulder. "Dear Mrs. Parker," she read aloud, "we would be honored if you would appear in our upcoming feature. Timeless Beauty Women Redefining Aging, for Vogue." Harold dropped his spoon. "Vogue," he repeated. "As in the magazine that tells people what shoes they can't afford?" "The very one," she said. "They want you?" She raised an eyebrow. "Careful. There's a sofa you can sleep on." He grinned. "What I mean is that's impressive, Evie." She read the rest silently. They wanted photos, an interview. And most terrifying of all, her thoughts on beauty after 70. She set the iPad down and wrapped both hands around her teacup. "Vogue," she murmured. "At my age." Harold studied her face. "How do you feel about that?" "Like I should have washed my hair before reading this," she said. Then, quieter, like someone just handed me a mirror I didn't ask for. Later that morning she met her friend Marjorie. At San Ambrose on Madison Avenue. The tiny espresso cups, the soft Italian chatter. The hum of well-dressed people pretending not to look at each other, it all felt more intense than usual. Marjorie arrived in oversized sunglasses. And a scarf that screamed old Hollywood, fleeing the paparazzi. "You got the email," she said, sliding into the booth. "Of course you knew already," Evelyn replied. "The internet knows before I do." "They want you in Vogue," Marjorie said, leaning in. "This is not a drill." Evelyn stirred her cappuccino. "It's just beauty," she said. "That word feels heavier these days." Marjorie laughed softly. "Darling, you survived raising 3 children, menopause, and low-rise jeans. This is the easy part." "Yes, but for most of my life, beauty was something I chased. Or something other people defined. Now they're asking me to explain it." She sighed. "What if I don't know?" Marjorie tapped the table with one manicured finger. "Then you tell them the truth. That beauty at our age is not about the mirror anymore. It's about the light that refuses to go out." "Did you swallow a Hallmark card this morning?" Evelyn asked. "Maybe," Marjorie said. "Or maybe I just know you better than you know yourself." A week later, the driver dropped Evelyn and Marjorie at the revolving doors of Bergdorf Goodman. The magazine had arranged a pre-shoot pampering day at the beauty level, something between a spa, a laboratory, and a shrine. Rows of bottles gleamed under soft lighting. The air smelled of rose, citrus, and expensive promises. A young beauty consultant in flawless foundation approached them. "Welcome," she said. "You must be Mrs. Parker. We're so excited to have you." "I feel like a car being detailed," Evelyn whispered to Marjorie. They were ushered to plush chairs. A makeup artist with a gentle touch began working on Evelyn's face. "Any concerns?" he asked kindly. She hesitated. "Well, I'd like to look like myself," she said. "Just rested. And perhaps like I've forgiven gravity for doing its job." He chuckled. "We can do that." As he dabbed and blended, he asked about her life. Her children. Her glamour video. Her legacy circle meetings. He listened with genuine interest, not like someone extracting content, but like a grandson hearing stories. You know, he said as he added a soft pink to her lips. My grandmother stopped letting anyone take her picture after 60. She said the camera wasn't her friend anymore. Evelyn looked at him in the mirror. And what did you think? I thought it was a shame, he said. The older she got, the more I wanted proof she'd been here. Her eyes stung for a moment. She blinked it away before he could blame his mascara. Later, at the spa at Mandarin Oriental, high above Columbus Circle, Evelyn lay with cucumber slices over her eyes, warm towels around her shoulders. Soft music, soft voices, the muffled heartbeat of the city below. In the relaxation lounge afterward, she sat in a plush robe with Marjorie and two other women her age. They drank infused water and nibbled almonds like well-behaved squirrels. One of the women, Clarissa, spoke first. I used to dye my hair every 3 weeks, she said, touching her silver bob. One day I forgot. My grandson looked at me and said, "Grandma, your hair looks like the moon." I cancelled my next appointment. The others laughed softly. Another, Denise, said, "My daughter told me to stop wearing red lipstick. She said it was too much for my age. Last week I bought the brightest red at Sephora just to spite her." Everyone laughed louder. Evelyn listened, warmth spreading through her. These were not women giving up. These were women quietly rebelling. "What about you, Evelyn?" Clarissa asked. "What changed for you?" She thought for a moment. "For a long time," she said slowly, "I thought beauty was something I was supposed to earn. By staying thin, staying polished, staying quiet. Now I think beauty is what happens when you stop apologizing for existing." The room went very still. Then Marjorie sniffed. "Well," she said, "I was just going to say Spanx." Laughter broke the silence in the best possible way. The day of the photoshoot arrived a loft studio in Chelsea. All white walls and large windows, racks of clothes in neutral tones. Evelyn stood by the window in her own outfit, her cream turtleneck, tailored trousers, soft silver shoes. She'd politely declined anything they offered that felt too much like a costume. "I brought my life," she told the stylist. "It fits me better." The photographer, a man in his 40s with kind eyes and unruly hair, studied her thoughtfully. "Don't pose," he said. "Just be." "Just be," she repeated. "You do realize I spent 70 years trying to be everything to everyone?" "Well," he replied, lifting his camera, "try being yourself. It looks good on you." They started simple. Sitting in a chair. Standing by the window. Hands in pockets. A small smile. A bigger one. Then a moment where she wasn't smiling at all, just present. Between shots, she caught sight of her reflection in a side mirror. Full face, silver hair, soft jawline. The last time she'd been photographed like this was her daughter's wedding. For a second, panic whispered, "You don't look like you used to." And then another voice answered, "Of course you don't. You're not supposed to." Tears pricked at her lashes. The photographer lowered the camera. "You okay?" "Yes," she said, surprised to find she meant it. "I am." He hesitated. "Can I ask what were you thinking just now?" "I was thinking," she said, "that I wasted a lot of years trying to get back to who I was. And I finally realized she's gone. But I like the woman who showed up instead." He smiled. "That's the shot I want." That evening, back on Park Avenue, Evelyn sat on the sofa with Harold, a glass of wine in hand. The city glowed outside like a field of candles. "How was it?" he asked. "Your day of glamour warfare?" She sighed, then smiled. "Surprisingly holy. In a lipstick kind of way." He waited. "They pampered me. They painted me. They took 1,000 pictures. But somewhere in the middle of it, I stopped feeling like a project and started feeling like a person. A whole one." He nodded slowly. "That sounds right. Do you think I'm beautiful?" she asked, not flirtatious, but curious. He looked at her as if she'd asked whether water was wet. "I thought you were beautiful when we were 22 and eating cheap pizza on the floor," he said. "I thought you were beautiful holding each of our children. I thought you were beautiful yelling at me in IKEA. And now?" He gestured at her with his wine glass. "Now you look like all of those women at once. That's a lot of beauty to argue with." Her eyes filled. She laughed it off and dabbed the corner quickly. "Vogue asked me what beauty after 70 means," she said. "What did you tell them?" She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I told them beauty is when a woman knows she's still allowed to take up space," she said. "In a room, in a photograph, in her own life." Harold kissed the top of her head. "Well then," he murmured, "I hope they print that in big letters." Outside, Manhattan kept shining, indifferent to anyone's age. Inside, Evelyn felt something quietly click into place. She no longer wanted to look younger. She wanted to look exactly like herself. A woman who had lived, and loved, and laughed. And was finally, gloriously, done apologizing for any of it.